All right, so I decided to come in today because of the penalty news that has come out, and I've got this sheet right here. Obviously, the race manipulation, we weren't sure what NASCAR might do. Felt like they would do some things. We discussed it on the show Tuesday. The 1 and the 3 car, Ross Chastain, Austin Dillon, they, I assumed maybe they might get a 1 race suspension. That did not happen. So the drivers were not suspended from the Phoenix race. Weren't sure what really was going to happen with Bubba Wallace. They tore his car down post-race. Would they find anything? What would they learn? Would they then penalize him as well? Well, the news is out. And they are going to penalize all 3 of those guys. And there's some points being taken away from each driver. I think it's 50 points. From the drivers and the owners. That's very in line with what we saw in 2013. Was that 13 with Spingate?
Yes, that was 13.
Right. I believe that was 50 points for all those teams, but they also removed Truex out of the chase. There was a monetary fine, $100,000 for the driver and the team, so that's $200,000 apiece. A lot of money. $600,000 total, I believe. Over $500,000 in fines. And immediately, as soon as the news came out, the teams all sent the message that they're going to appeal. The appeal will be expedited this week. It's happening probably now. And we will find out. I don't expect the teams to win the appeal. I think they're going to, try to appeal and see what happens. And yeah, I don't know that they'll have a lot of chance to have success there. There was a safety penalty as well for I guess the 8 car,
the loose tire.
Yeah. And which is kind of a traditional penalty that happens from time to time, as well as an issue in the Xfinity Series for the 81 team. Chandler Smith was fined $10,000
for the slap.
Can you say that word?
Behavioral.
It's a slap heard around the garage.
That's a tough word.
That's right.
That's a tough damn word to say.
And it's all over the penalty sheet.
And the slap gave our boy Cole Custer a black eye. Damn.
$10,000 black eye right there.
I didn't think slaps could give you a black eye. That's why I asked him if he had a ring on. Maybe the I don't know, the ring into the brow bone could give you the black eye you're looking for. I was shocked. I sat there for 20 minutes interviewing their asses, and I didn't see it. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, holy
there it is.
Yeah. I can't wait for him to shut up so I can ask him if he's got a black eye. Who was talking? I can't remember. And, man, what a fun time messing with those guys.
That was a good show.
My favorite part was telling them how I had told Sam Mayer that he was going to go bowling through their ass if he got the shot. AJ Allmendinger was like, what the hell?
Yeah, he's like, thanks for that.
That was
and I mean, they also weighed in on the whole Martinsville situation.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad, thank goodness, that NASCAR didn't add somebody. Now, I could get down with taking somebody out, right? If something happens and you're like, you got to remove a guy. I mean, that's a death knell. Michael Waltrip might sit here and say, yeah, man, when they removed Martin, Napa didn't want to come back. We lost all our sponsorship, and eventually that was the end. That's what could happen to a team if they got pulled out of the playoffs, but I damn sure don't want to see one added. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That would be wrong.
So, I mean, we talked about...
That's like ordering, ordering a burger the way you want it and it coming with more on it than you asked for. It's like, I didn't order it this way.
Always disappointed.
Damn it. I ordered a championship Final Four in February. I don't want anything else.
We were talking about how do you fix this.
Yeah.
Is this enough to deter people from doing this in the future?
Dude, you asked some of the best questions. That is an awesome question.
Thank you, Dale.
Way to take us where we need to go.
No problem.
I saw Jeff Gluck comment immediately. He didn't think this was enough. And I can understand that. It's kind of how I felt. And so in my mind, I'm thinking, all right, do I not understand? So Jeff Gluck then followed up that tweet by saying, okay, 50 points cost this driver this. Like, it didn't affect one. One guy dropped one position. The 3, Austin Dillon, lost like 4 or 5 spots. A little bit more tough. What is that in terms of money in the final standings, that would be how you might quantify that.
So Dylan dropped from 28th to 33rd. Bubba 17th to 18th, and Chastain stays the same in 19th.
So it didn't really bother one driver, and it hurt the other a little bit monetarily. I don't know how much that cost them from 28th to 30, whatever. I don't know. I honestly don't know how much $100,000 hurts. So there's a lot of rumor out there that these guys are all rich. This is a big rich sport. That doesn't really bother them. And I bet the manufacturer pays it anyways. That's what a lot of people are saying. So I don't really know. I honestly don't know if I think in some cases drivers have paid their own fines. In other cases, the team owner has backed them up. I think Ty Majeski, there was a bit of a miscommunication possibly from both sides where Ty Majeski was penalized for not being at media day yesterday because he was voting. And I don't know that I don't think that each side kind of knew what was going on. And, so he says, in that case, I bet the owner pays the fine. I got you covered, man. No problem. And so in this case, maybe the manufacturer will pay the fine. If I was an owner sitting there with $200,000 worth of fines and I'd done something to try to help the whole group, I'd go, well, Chevy, I'm in a hell of a damn predicament here, right? So I don't know what Chevy can. I don't know if Chevy would write that check or not. That's a lot of money, knowing what kind of involvement Chevy has in our sport. So I think it's a lot of money. I think the points are a lot. That's for sure. But I still stand by the idea that to really get someone's attention, I think parking them a race is
the driver.
The way it goes, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And even if, listen, and some people have said to my idea of parking the drivers, a lot of people said, oh, no, the drivers were just doing what they were told. Yes, you're right. Is parking the drivers a little bit misguided? Absolutely. But what it does is it will be enough of a deterrent for someone to not do it again.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a death nail or a death sentence to a team. There's no one here with a great idea and a great way to penalize the manufacturer or to deter them. People said, go after the manufacturer's points. I don't know if that really matters, does it? We don't seem to care about these 50 points for the drivers. What do the manufacturers? Do we know they care about that? Is that going to make a big difference? So are you going to really go say, hey, man, Chevrolet, you lost the manufacturer's title this year because of this? I don't know, right? That might. Mm. So while parking a driver, the driver might sit here and go, what the hell, man? And the fans might go, well, that's a little misguided. I still think that that's the proper deterrent because the money and the points is hard for any of us fans, us layman's, right, to go, oh, yeah, that's going to get them. We don't know.
I don't really care about the money.
Right. You're not alone. And a lot of people are going to look at the points and go, they don't. It's already, the season's over. The points are what they are.
It's a battle for 18th.
Yeah. So, I saw where NASCAR made a comment. Elton Sawyer said, we considered penalizing or parking the drivers. That may be something down the road. Dang, man, I hate that because it's kind of like your parent going, next time it's your ass. Next time you're getting the belt.
Yeah. All right. Sure.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Maybe the belt's. Maybe now's the time to bring the belt out, right?
That's even confusing. Like, how much more egregious does it have to be to park the drivers?
Well,
if this wasn't enough.
I know.
You know?
It is. It's like you do that again. It's just like that parent where they're always threatening the next time.
Yeah. The warnings.
Don't make me. And it's like, all right. So I wish that I would like, maybe they got a great reason why they didn't want to do it. maybe they got a great reason why they didn't want to suspend the drivers. And to a lot of fans' points that commented on our show and our little clips yesterday, they weren't all in favor of that. They weren't. But I just feel like that would be a way to go, all right, man. Hey, when Harvick was set out a race, he wrecked somebody at Martinsville, had to set out a race, you knew that he got that message, right? And Harvick would probably tell you, yeah, that was hard to. I bet he was shocked when he was told the news. You aren't racing tomorrow. I mean, he's like, what? And I mean, because that's the thing, man. Drivers never know. Drivers would never assume that you were going to be told, man, you're not running. You're out. Going to get another guy in there. And why is that a deterrent? So obviously the driver's embarrassed. They're going to get mad initially, but then the next it's going to fall into a bit of an embarrassed emotion, right? They're going to be embarrassed, ashamed. Oh, my team, I let my team down. I'm not going to be there for them. They're going to have someone else. They're going to be working with someone else. That's my team. And they've got to watch their car go to the racetrack and someone else drive it. Oh, man, that's a very, very sucky experience. That's what happens to the driver. The team, the owner, the sponsor, they go through all of that as well, because all next week on the broadcast, throughout the weekend, practice, qualifying, and in the race, broadcast is going to have to cover it. Guess who's driving his car today? Hey, this is why. And that's not a great little bit of recognition for any of that group, right? So that is a great deterrent. I was explaining this to a friend of mine. He's like, why would that deter them? Parking them for a race. And I'm like, well, there's a trickle-down effect, and it processes through the entire next weekend where it all has to be explained over and over again of why this driver's not running today. And it's embarrassing for everyone involved, partners included. And so, and the manufacturer, it's being framed up like, well, it all came down from them, this message, right? Mm-hmm. All of this is a result of what the manufacturer expected from the team, right? It's being framed that way, right? And so it's I will say this, man. I was thinking about this morning. Everybody in this sport, everyone in this sport has a responsibility to maintain and uphold the integrity of the sport. Some of us fell a little short this past weekend. All right? It happens. And it's not new. It's happened before. And it may happen again. Jeff Glucks thinks that this wasn't a big enough deterrent. He says, we'll see it again.
If this happened at a different race, it wasn't the last one before the final.
Or before teams were loading up earlier in the week.
Do you think that might incentivize them to park someone over just kind of being like, all right, this time we're going to do this, but next time?
I really only have one real thought about this. At this point, the fines are here. This is what we're going to go forward with. We can argue what should have happened or what we might have done. But when we look back, we mentioned on Tuesday's show some other scenarios where, there was manipulation. This isn't a new thing. This isn't a new thing at Martinsville. This has happened on the plate tracks for a handful of years. Mm-hmm. Teams organizing and working together and even practicing together. We literally would say, don't pull off pit road if a Ford or a Toyota's in our line. And they would get in our line and go, man, I'm going to go out with the Chevys. And we would sit there and not pull off pit road until they would get with their group. It was silly. And so we all, and when I say we all, collectively, us here in this room, podcasters, content creators, team owners, manufacturers, NASCAR, race control, everyone involved has some responsibility to uphold the integrity of our sport. And some of us failed, and it happens. It's okay. I think, though, going forward, we all have to really understand how delicate that credibility and legitimacy is to our fans, right? And they expect to tune in and see something fair and just and ran accordingly. And so when it doesn't really go that way, it's frustrating and disappointing. And we can't continue to do those things. We can't continue to utilize that type of strategy or whatever you may have. So, I mean, it really needs to get back to, this should always be about dropping the green flag, racing to the checkered flag in its purest form. And we won't always hit that mark. But that's why this all exists in the first place, right? And so when we try to get cute and try to take liberties with certain situations, it can bite us in the ass a little bit, and I think that's just a lesson we were learning.
I got kind of like two questions in one because we're going to the championship race, and in the past, more recent examples, there's been some Penske cars helping the other Penske car win the championship, right? Making it really hard on that next guy to pass him to get to the leader.
Is he racing the of the guy?
Right, exactly. So the season-old question. First with Austin Dillon.
I know.
And
well,
is the line clear? Basically, is what I'm asking.
Yes. The line isn't clear for some people. That's the one thing that's tough for me is we had the thing with Austin Dillon, right, at Richmond, where he runs into the 22 and then the 11, the contact and all that, right? And the NASCAR made a call and change the outcome of events. So we go to Martinsville, and Kristen Eckes pushes Taylor Gray out of the way and wins the truck race, and everybody is going, well, why is that okay? They did this with Austin Dillon, but the two events are not the same. Mm-hmm. I will stand here all day and tell anyone that I feel like I got a damn good hold on race etiquette and what's cool, what ain't cool, what's over the line, where the lines are. For the most part, I feel like I understand what a good block is and what a bad block is, what rough driving is, what being aggressive is, what using the chrome horn is, and what flat wrecking a guy is. I can look at both of those situations and understand why one is okay and one isn't. It's not up for debate for me. It's very simple for me. I don't sit there, I don't look at those two situations and go, God, I'm kind of torn. No. It's one guy got the chrome horn, the other guy bowled and bulldozed through the front of the pack and wrecked it until he won the race, right? And it was too much. Say, for example, this weekend in Phoenix, say Blaney's leading the race, right? And he's coming up to and he laps Cindric,
right,
his teammate.
Mm-hmm.
And now Cindric is racing the shit out of second, who's William Byron, for example.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's race manipulation.
Because they're
all
hard.
going like hell. Yes.
Yeah.
Now, if he throws a block, that's a thing to do. That's bad. That's poor racecraft, and they should call him out on that. If he blocks out of the guy and runs him in the wall,
doors
whatever.
him.
Yeah, that's bad.
Okay.
That's not good. But if he's just racing the out of the guy and makes it, slows him down for a couple laps because he can't get around him, that's okay. What happened at Martinsville, not okay. Blocking the track and not allowing other people by and having faster cars and sitting behind people intentionally. That kind of stuff flies in F1, but I don't think we want to allow that to be part of what we have going on here. We can. NASCAR could have not penalized anybody and said, you know what, that's all fair and clear. Everybody can start doing that. And if that's what they want to do and that's what the sport, if we'll see that will
control the sport.
It will explode.
Yeah.
Teams will be, oh hell, didn't know we could do that. Now it's on. Now I'm going to try to use that new tool in every situation possible. I'm glad it's being quelled, and I know myself when I see something, I can tell when I see something that shouldn't happen versus somebody just getting, racing someone hard or making things difficult. And I still think for, if you want to draft with your teammate or your 4 teammates at Talladega, that's fine. That is fine. Team up. Hell yeah. I team up with guys that ain't even freaking teammates. That's okay. But I don't love everything that happens at Daytona Talladega in terms of how much the manufacturer role plays a role in each driver's decision. I don't love that. I loved it when they all were very selfish and racing for themselves. But, that kind of thing is gonna change and evolve. And definitely what we had happen this past weekend is I don't want it, and I'm glad NASCAR is trying to find a way to deter it.
I mean, you said the line was clear for you. I know what's right and I know what's wrong. And I know these drivers, they're not dumb. They're smart guys. So why is it that we keep running into these types of problems? Is it because they've got bosses and their bosses have bosses and they're just...
That's true. I mean, that's why fans were thinking penalizing the drivers was the wrong thing to do, because the drivers were just doing what they're told. They're under so much pressure. And if Ross Chastain drives around the 24, oh boy, it's going to be... He's going to have hell to pay when Rick Hendrick calls him up and goes, "What are you doing, dummy?" Or, when I don't know that Rick would do that, but Jeff Gordon might walk up to him and go, "Dude, do you know you driving a Chevrolet? What, cost us a shot at going for the, those conversations will happen." And Ross felt pressured. I don't know if Ross was told something on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday. I don't know.
Kind of knowing the plan going in.
I don't know, but I feel certain that they were made aware at some point, because the comments on the radio were just a reminder of, what's going on here. And so I hate it for the drivers, but in the end, we have to have, someone has to stand up and go, "We can't do this. This is not good for any of us. This is not good for our sport. This ain't good for us now or long term." Somebody in the room needs to stand up, not just NASCAR, somebody else. Everybody's a stakeholder here. You and me, we're all invested in this. I think it was, I'm glad they did what they did. We'll see. I don't think we'll have to worry about it this weekend. Have we ever seen anything similar to this in the championship race?
I mean, I guess the example was Blaney. When Logano was going for the championship 2 years ago in 22, and then Logano the next year. And again, it was just racing hard.
Yeah.
But luckily, there's no points involved this weekend, which I think makes it easier.
I'm fine with that. I'll give you an example where I got a little nervous. So we were racing for the championship. Ty Gibbs wins the title. But we were racing into that weekend, and I was telling our guys, I was like, "Hey, man, I want y'all to race him really hard, but do not wreck him." There was a lot of animosity, right, between Noah and Sam Mayer.
That was a tense time.
Yeah, they weren't all great fans of each other. And so, but I was like, hey, I said, I want y'all to win the title. I'm saying this as if, okay, Sam's coming down into turn 3 and Ty's within reach. I'm like, you can move him out of the way. I don't want you backing him in the fence. I don't want, don't win it the wrong way. But you can certainly be aggressive. Late in the race, Noah's running second to Ty, I believe, and we're trying to track him down. Noah just can't quite get there. And Ty came up to lap Sam. Sam gave him room but raced him hard and cost him a couple car lengths or maybe more. I'm not really sure, can't remember. But it was what I would have expected, what I would have hoped for, but it didn't cross a line for me, even though, yes, I'm a little biased in the moment because it's my cars. Those are the times where you're like, all right, yeah, man, hold him up best you can, but don't freaking brake check him and don't make it a big mess, ugly. The optics are important, and the fans need to know that, the fans don't want shenanigans, and they want it to be pure and honest work, right? And so that's kind of what I think NASCAR's trying to keep going, keep in line.
So now that we have all the pieces of the puzzle, right? There's a Chevy in the Final Four. We know what all the penalties are, the fines and points. As a driver and an owner, was it worth it? Was it worth it for them to do this?
Yes. If you win the championship, you're not going to be worried about what you did to get there. I think that Martinsville and those particulars will be a distant memory. But again, I mean, for them, for an individual, for a driver, for a team, they're going to look at the full body of work and say, we worked our guts out. It wasn't just what happened on that moment. We spent the whole year putting ourselves in this position. So if I were William Byron and I win the championship, I wouldn't have a damn problem with it at all. I'd stand up there and give my speech and be prouder than hell. But, again, like the long-term health of the sport, we definitely need NASCAR to deter what some of the other drivers chose to do that night for the long-term credibility and legitimacy of the sport. And so, they're just trying to keep things moving in the right direction. And but yeah, again, I mean, if whoever wins the title should feel very happy about that and not one bit worried about anybody's opinion about how they did it.
How should RCR and Trackhouse feel?
Pissed, but I mean, it's been a difficult year for both of those organizations, more so for RCR. And that's why they obviously feel like they've got an argument to win the appeal, and they've got a reason enough to believe that they didn't do anything wrong. And they probably know of many, many other scenarios that maybe we don't even know of where manipulation or a version of it happened, even throughout this year, right? There could have been things going on that we don't even know about during these races, during the race weekend, And so, it'll be interesting what kind of argument they can put together to try to win the appeal, but I don't feel like it's going to be successful.